Breaking news. DSS arrests Sowore in court. Taken to Kuje Prison after dramatic Abuja court scene. Breaking news. Sowore taken to Kuje Prison. A dramatic scene unfolded at Nigeria's Federal High Court in Abuja today as human rights activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore was taken into custody and transferred to the Kuje Correctional Center following his controversial arrest by operatives of the Department of State Services, popularly known as the DSS. But what exactly happened inside and outside the courtroom? Why are critics describing the arrest as violent and unlawful? And what could this mean for Nigeria's democracy, judicial independence, and civil liberties? Stay with us, because in this report, we'll break down the full sequence of events, reactions from key stakeholders, and the wider implications of this developing story. Welcome to Africa Global Opportunities TV, your trusted source for African news, analysis, opportunities, and global affairs. The controversy began after reports emerged that operatives of the Department of State Services moved against Omoyele Sowore at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Witnesses described chaotic scenes as security operatives reportedly apprehended the activist within the court premises, triggering concerns among lawyers, journalists, and civil rights observers. Shortly afterward, officials of the Nigerian Correctional Service arrived at the court in a prison transport vehicle, commonly referred to as a Black Maria. The correctional officers subsequently took custody of Sowore from DSS personnel and transported him to the Kuje Correctional Center, located on the outskirts of Nigeria's capital city. The development has quickly become one of the most discussed political and legal stories in Nigeria, attracting nationwide attention and sparking heated debate across social media platforms. For viewers unfamiliar with the background, Omoyele Sowore is a prominent Nigerian activist, journalist, publisher, and former presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC. Over the years, he has become one of Nigeria's most visible government critics, frequently organizing protests and campaigns centered on accountability, governance reforms, and anti-corruption initiatives. Kuje Correctional Center, where he has now reportedly been taken, is one of Nigeria's most well-known correctional facilities and has housed several high-profile detainees over the years. Legal experts note that arrests occurring within court premises often attract heightened scrutiny because courts are generally regarded as protected spaces where due process and judicial authority must be respected. This is one reason why today's events have generated significant public interest. But here's where the story becomes even more significant. Beyond the arrest itself, the incident is now raising broader questions about the relationship between security agencies, the judiciary, and fundamental rights in Nigeria. Let's look at the growing reactions. Nationwide reactions. Following the incident, reactions began pouring in from various quarters. Supporters of Sowore condemned the action, describing it as an assault on civil liberties and due process. Several legal practitioners and human rights advocates have also questioned the circumstances surrounding the arrest, particularly given that it reportedly occurred within the court environment. On the other hand, security agencies are expected to present their justification based on legal procedures and ongoing judicial processes. At the time of this report, public attention remains focused on whether all constitutional and legal requirements were fully observed during the operation. Political analysts say the case could reignite discussions about freedom of expression.
Set of lawyers today, as I promised the court last time, and they are going to represent us. But the court was told by the prosecutors that they must insist on sending me to Kuje Prison until Wednesday. But guess what? I'm prepared. I brought my prison bag with me today. And I told the judge, who said he can't recuse himself, that when they are ready, I'm outside. Nobody should be surprised. I have predicted before now that all these things are going to happen. But they are happening for a good reason. And the reason is that somebody must make the sacrifice that will liberate this country.
Citizens' rights and the limits of state power in democratic societies. As Nigeria continues to strengthen its democratic institutions, incidents involving prominent activists often become major tests of public confidence in both security and judicial systems. And here's why this story matters beyond politics. Whether you support Sowore or disagree with his views, today's events raise questions that affect every citizen. How should democratic societies balance national security with civil liberties? And what safeguards should exist to ensure that justice is both done and seen to be done? These are questions that go far beyond one individual. For now, Omoyele Sowore has reportedly been transferred to the Kuje Correctional Center following his custody transfer from DSS operatives to officials of the Nigerian Correctional Service. As legal proceedings continue, Nigerians and members of the international community will be closely watching developments in the coming days. Africa Global Opportunities TV will continue monitoring this story and provide verified updates as more information becomes available. Like, comment, subscribe. What is your reaction to the events that unfolded at the Federal High Court in Abuja? Do you believe the arrest followed due process? Or do you think it raises concerns about civil liberties and judicial independence? Share your views respectfully in the comments section below. If you value credible African news and in-depth analysis, please like this video, subscribe to Africa Global Opportunities TV, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest reports. Thank you for watching, and this has been Africa Global Opportunities TV, connecting Africa to global opportunities. See you next time.